Hi everyone, it's Heather from True North Spirit Medicine. How are you going today? Today I'm going to be doing the energy reading for November 2023. Excellent. So because we're in a different venue today and it's a little bit echoey, I chose the cards, I dealt the cards just before I turned the camera on. Yes, so I drew 4 cards from 2 different decks. I've got 3 cards from, they're both Colette Baron-Reid decks, which is interesting, but they're the 2 that kind of spoke to me today. The first one is the Wisdom of the Oracle, Colette Baron-Reid. I love the artwork in this, it's beautiful. And the second one is the Spirit Animal Oracle, also by Colette Baron-Reid. Today is brought to you by Colette. Not really. I mean, yes, but not sponsorship wise. Gosh, you have to be so careful what you say on video sometimes. Okay, so, and the cards are quite exciting, which is interesting. And there's a fair amount of pink in them, which is also interesting. Pink being representative of the heart chakra. And I've got a pink tablecloth, which is quite cute. I feel like there was stuff I wanted to say before I turned the camera on about the month that's just passed. There is a really big solar flare, coronal mass ejection that's heading towards the Earth as we speak. So yeah, take care of yourself, make sure you drink extra water, pay attention to your dreams, and touch nature. So get your bare feet on the ground if you can, or pat a pot plant or something like that, but connect with nature in a very tangible way if you can. There's been a lot of letting go and a lot of clearing out energy lately, so I don't know if you've been feeling that, like you might have started decluttering or doing a spring clean, even if you're not in the season of spring. That kind of energy is around quite a lot, letting go of old relationships, old friendships. I think we talked about this last month. Letting go of old stuff that no longer serves you, making way for the new. And they're pointing out the cards to come, that there has been a vast period of clearing out and reflection, and I want to say recollection, so recollecting yourself into what you want to drive forward towards, if that makes sense. Yeah, refocusing of goals, that kind of stuff. They're showing me that bow and arrow target thing that they talked about quite a lot, sort of around when I first started doing videos. That was like one of the main themes. So they're bringing that kind of focused awareness back into our attention, which is nice. So I'm going to do the channel first, and then we'll get to the cards. Okay. I don't know what they're going to say. It's kind of interesting. It's a bit exciting though. Okay. Greetings, dear ones, and thank you again for sitting at us with this perhaps unconventional table. Unconventional for Heather, for she is in a new venue this day. She is being brave and trialing a new space for a future goal that she has in mind, hoping that things will work out, trusting that things will fall in her favor, so to speak, that the dominoes that are stacked up will tumble gently as she pushes the first one, hoping to see that beautiful trail of clinks as each domino tile touches the next and touches the next and touches the next, causing a beautiful cascade of sound and of movement and an overall picture of beauty as one watches these domino tiles tumble. And one also has an appreciation of the time that it took to set up these individual tiles, these ducks in a row, so to speak. A bit like a beautiful sandcastle where someone has spent a lot of time constructing it, only for the waves or the wind or some small destructive child to come along and break it all down. It is beautiful and it is temporary. And I'm sure by now you understand our metaphor for life. It is beautiful and it is temporary. There are great lessons here, my friends, for paying attention to the now and being in gratitude for what you have, for all is temporary. The relationships that you want to last forever, the homes you have built, the trees you have planted, the children you have birthed, the business empire you have built, the dinner you have cooked, all are temporary and all can be beautiful in the here and now. And it is this strange dichotomy, this duality of wanting things to last forever but knowing that they will not, of knowing that you are eternal but also in a temporary body for this lifetime, knowing that you can love with all of your heart and yet still be bound by the past or by conditioning or by the limitations of the earthly flesh. All is binary, all is duality, all is temporary and everlasting, my friends. It is a great, perfect, puzzling paradox, is it not? So our advice for you today, our guidance for you today really is about the sparkles in the everyday, the dewdrop on the spider's web, the sunlight on the raindrop on the leaf, the laughter of a child, the smell of a beautifully cooked dinner, the appreciation of the peace. We ask you to invest time in gratitude this month, my friends. A very perfectly practical, discipline of gratitude. Every day when you wake and every night before you sleep, list 3 or 4 things that you are List 3 or 4 things that you are grateful for in your individual days, my friends. And as we know that like attracts like in this vibrational universe of ours, that every time that you open your heart to gratitude, you allow more and more and more of our unconditional love in, our infinite love in. And it is this that we wish to bring for you today in a beautiful wave of love, full of the sparkling sunlight on the seawater on a beautiful clear day, full of the laughter of children with fairy floss at a fair, full of the purr of a cat as it sits gently on your lap, full of the joy of a dog as it bounces to greet you, full of the light of a loved one's eyes as they meet you at your door, or the hug of family members, full of all of these small and grand moments of joy. This is what we bring for you, my friends, this and more. And more and more. As you raise your vibration in these shifting, changing times, we can bring we can bring more energy into your systems, my friends, as Heather's throat adjusts to the bringing in of more energy, to the bringing in of more messages for you. We leave you with this. We allow for this, and we ask you to allow us to more gently and deeply and fulsomely enter your hearts. We will speak to you again very soon. With much love, and so it is. That was really nice. It felt really nice and bright and sparkly as well. I'm a little cold. I'm going to put another layer on, and I can't be bothered stopping the video and then explaining the edit, so I'm just going to put it on. I actually took it off before I started because I thought it might get warm with the channel, but I should have left it on. Anyway, I feel like I'm talking more quietly because the room's echoey and there's people outside. They can't hear me, but it's like when you had, like, if you've got a bad phone connection, you kind of change the way you speak because you can hear yourself. I'm aware of the microphone and not getting things in it too. Right, okay. Lots of sparkles in that channel, and gentle kind of sparkles as well. So that's nice. Okay, so the cards. So I got 3 from the Wisdom of the Oracle and 1 Animal Spirit Oracle. I nearly didn't use the Animal Spirit Oracle deck. I brought it with me, and I shuffled it. I dealt the other ones first, and then I did this one last. And I, asked for the clearest, best, most loving, most beneficial guidance for the people watching today, whenever your today is. Like I do every time, and drew the other 3, opened this deck, asked the same question, dealt the cards, or drew a card, and was like, I don't know if it really goes, maybe I won't use it, I'll try again, asked the same question, cleared, shuffled the deck, got exactly the same card. And in this deck there are 68 cards, and I got exactly the same card. So I thought, well, it's probably important. And then I wasn't sure where it went. It kind of goes together with the first card of the other deck, but I'll talk about it first. Okay, so it's Flamingo Spirit, Embrace the In-Between. And it's got a lovely picture of a flamingo on it. Again, the pink. So I feel like this card is connected to we talked about last month about the void, and we started talking about the 0 point field, or the field, which is the place where all matter exists sort of in a pre-material form, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a place where all potentials exist, okay? So if you're working with manifesting, which of course is a real thing, that's where stuff comes from, basically. The field, it has many other purposes, but that's sort of the one that we understand the most at the moment. And I feel like this card, Embrace the In-Between, is about that. It's about, they're saying, upping your knowledge and upping your game about how the universe works, what its purpose is, what your purpose is within it, and how you best work and co-create with universal energy. That's just a small thing for the first card, isn't it? Embrace the in-between. And she looks, I'm going to call her a she, this flamingo. She looks really gentle as well. Like she's got a really gentle kind of face, I think. And there's this beautiful kind of lace work or something around her face. So there's an invitation here that it's not about pushing, and it's not about shoving, and it's not about, right, well, I said I was going to have this thing manifest by this deadline, and therefore I am, and pushing through and ignoring the instinct to rest, or ignoring the instinct to wait, or ignoring the instinct to collaborate with others, or whatever it is. So there's an invitation to not only embrace that voidal energy, the in-between energy between thought and material reality, 3 or 4D reality, but also being at peace with the flow of it. It's like trying to hurry a lettuce on. If you've planted lettuce, you've still got to wait a few weeks till they mature, till you can pick them and start eating them. You can't stand there and yell at them to hurry up. Well, you could, but I don't think that would do the lettuce any good. Just have this image of someone yelling at their vegetable bed, hurry up, you know. You generally wouldn't get that. You might get a bit of like, oh, I can't wait until that thing flowers or this thing blooms or whatever. But it's not an angry push, really. That's funny. I just picked some of my lettuce this morning and had them with my breakfast, so that was kind of nice. Okay, so the second card. Now, this and the following two are from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and it says here and now. And it's a beautiful picture of a girl sitting on top of an egg shape with a doorway in it. She's got a flag, and there's an arrow pointing to the past and an arrow pointing to the future, here and now. The lighting in here is a bit wacky. Sorry about that. I'll drop the cards in properly to the video so you can see them, and I'll also post them onto my Facebook and Instagram pages a couple of days after the video goes up. Okay, so this here and now and embrace the in-between, the first two cards kind of go together. And this card, here and now, is really about that gratitude practice that they were talking about in that first channel. So while they were talking about the gratitude practice, they kept kind of popping this card into my mind. Because it's all about here and now. It sounds paradoxical if you're new to this work. In order to bring things into being, to manifest in your world, you need to be at peace and grateful for what it is that you already have. Okay, there is that energy of desire and want, but again, it's not that angry push, hurry up, give it to me now kind of energy. It's more, I'm really grateful for these things that I already have, which sets up a higher vibration, which allows more in. Okay, does that make sense? Again, coming back to that basic principle of it's a vibrational universe where like attracts like. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And the second two cards kind of go together, which is exciting. So we've got exchanging gifts and all that glitters. This one, exchanging gifts, I don't think I've actually seen this card before. Yeah, it's nice. How many are in this card? 52. And it's a card pink, a pink box with a pink ballerina fairy lady coming out of it. And she's got her arms outstretched, and there's a cat with a pink ribbon around its neck, and they're kind of touching hands, so to speak, exchanging gifts. Okay, so they're saying straight away that this is all about that collaboration. In that first channel, they were talking about collaborating with others and waiting for the timing, something about waiting for the timing of collaboration, and how that's really important to bringing in the gifts. All that glitters, the fourth card, bringing in the gifts that you want to manifest. Okay. And again, the pink, it's all about heart energy. Heart. Open your heart, stay in your heart, be in your heart as much as you can. You know, there's been some really kind of tricky, challenging energies around at the moment. You might have noticed. With that letting go, you know, all those planets in retrograde and stuff, and a lot of letting go. Like, that's part of that has been, I think, for a lot of people, about letting go of, how do I explain it? Like, ways of, I want to say ways of being in the world, and it's more about that sort of the roles that you put on yourself in relationship to others. Okay, does that make sense? Like, I've always responded in this way to this person, so that's, you know, that's the dynamic that's set in stone, so to speak. But then when you decide, if you decide to change, and when you decide to change your response or your reaction to things, sometimes other people aren't that, they're not that jiggy with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're used to you being reactive, or they're used to you being passive, or they're used to you being whatever it is, and you've changed roles because you've changed thinking. You've moved into your heart more, and you're seeing more from that eagle's perch. You're seeing from a different perspective, especially after this full moon eclipse we've just had, which has opened up a whole new, I was going to say can of worms, but it's a good can of worms. Be like a can of worms if you're a really hungry bird. It's quite a ridiculous thing to say, but you know what I mean. It's opened up, a beautiful box, and they're laughing because here's a beautiful box that's been opened, so, by changing and opening your heart and allowing more love in, then you respond to the world in a different way. But here's these people that are used, or situations or jobs or whatever it is, but in this case, people that are used to you responding in a different way, and it's like they can't fit their key into your lock anymore, so to speak. They can't push your buttons anymore, or they can't get a rise from you anymore, or they can't step all over you anymore, or use you as a doormat, or whatever that dynamic was. And so there can be some frustration and some pushback around that. What they're saying to us here is stay as present as you can with those situations, okay? Stay as present as you can. Sorry, the focus is freaking out a bit. Because if you stay as present as you can, and stay in gratitude and stay in good humour, they're saying that's really important, then there's a more free flow of energy that can be exchanged, okay? It's not trying to shove an old key into a broken lock. It's more about getting out the WD-40 or, whatever it is to make things glide a bit more easily. What a strange bunch of metaphors. I feel like there was a whole bunch of mixed metaphors there, but I think you understand what we're trying to say. Don't expect conflict when you change your response to certain behaviours, because the setting up of the expectation of conflict is not embracing the in-between, it's expecting conflict, okay? So all you have to do is step forward with your shiny pink heart, and things that aren't meant to be in your purview will move out of the way. And things that are still meant to be in your purview will find a way, will recalibrate themselves so they can flow with you, okay? It's like when a river or a creek kind of comes up against something like a big rock or something that it can't continue down the same path. It goes around it, doesn't it? And keeps on flowing. And eventually the water is stronger than the stone and will, wear it down. So this is love. Love is the flow, yeah? And gratitude and peace and contentment and sitting at the higher perspective. Oh, that was the other thing. This popped in the other day, actually. I was nearly going to record the video from home the other day, but it was really hot. So I chose to wait until after the full moon eclipse, but it meant doing it in this space, which I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go. But I chose to be brave and try it out. But because I was going to record it the other day, they started sort of dropping some energy, dropping some messages in, which sometimes happens before I record. And they were talking about compassionate action and reminding us about compassionate action, which is, if you don't know, it's all about, say if you have a situation of conflict, whether that's on a country or city or global wide, personal, range or area or whatever, instead of going, oh, poor you, or oh, poor them, because that brings your energy down, what compassionate action does is it sees the trauma or the terrible event or whatever it is, and I think you can probably imagine what we're talking about here. Instead of going, oh no, you can still think, oh no, but what we want your energy to do, compassionate action, is seeing these people or that city or that situation or that person or whatever it is, see them in joy, in laughter, in community, in companionship, in, you know, happiness. Okay? So it's a whole different approach, isn't it? Instead of going, oh no, you go, oh, okay, what I'm going to do for you, the best thing energetically I can do for you is to see you happy in the future. Okay? And if you have an understanding of how the void works, okay, the in-between space, what you're doing, imagine a train track and you're kind of, oh, cute, you're putting little bags of gold, all that glitters is gold in this case. You're putting like little bags of gold, so to speak, that being good, peace, happy, energy, love, health, all the rest of it, on the train track before them, before these people that you're feeling compassion for. And so because time is circular, not linear, they'll go around that track and they'll pick up that bag of gold. Does that make sense? So you're placing good energy, and you can go, right, 2 o'clock on Tuesday, they're going to be going around that part of the track and they're going to feel better. Okay, and this is measurable. That book that I showed you last month, that Lynne McTaggart book, The Field, she's written others, and she's quite famous for meditation experiments. Okay, if you are in any doubt about any of this stuff working, whether it's compassionate action or sending distant healing to people or sending distant healing to me, thank you very much for those people who have been on board my post-car crash journey for the last 12 months or so, thank you very much. It works and it helps and it's measurable. It's literally measurable with scientific instruments. And remembering that our scientific instruments that we have at the moment are like those little old-fashioned wooden rulers. They're very, you know, old school. The energy of the world has moved on, and we're still trying to measure things with these little old wooden rulers. Sorry, tried to say that too fast. But in our culture, because the esoterics has been written out of history and it's been written out of science, literally been written out of science. We tend to think that if it's not measurable, then it doesn't count. That's no accident, my friends. That is no accident, because it's where all of the power lies, you know, in yourself, and free energy also lies in the void, you know. Yeah, so it's measurable and it's important, and compassionate action is one of the greatest tools that we have in our toolkit as old soul light workers, way showers, star seeds, whatever, awakened ones, whatever name you want to give to people who have an understanding of the reality beyond 4 dimensions. Yeah, compassionate action, it's a really powerful tool. So I would highly recommend sitting on that eagle's perch. So I was talking about the eagle's perch in that first channel as well. From that eagle's perch, just send as much compassionate action as you can to certain cities or areas or the whole world, if you want. At the moment, it would be a really powerful and beautiful thing that you could do. And they're also saying that, you know, you don't do these things for, a reward, so to speak, but they're telling us that by us having compassionate action or doing compassionate action for others, there is an exchange of energy. They're pointing out between the ballerina and the cat. Just a bit of a strange pairing. It's kind of cute though. Yeah, there is an exchange of energy for that. They're saying it does not go unnoticed. Okay, it's like a little tick on your balance sheet or something. Anyway, it's a bit funny. Okay, last card. All that glitters. I have a feeling I've used this card in these videos before, but today it has the opposite meaning. Okay, so all that glitters. It's got a picture of a pile of glittery gold with a couple of theatre masks on it. Yeah, and it's quite a shiny background. And I have a feeling that in the booklet or in the last time we used this card together, can't remember which video it was, it had the meaning where all that glitters is not gold, so be careful of deceit and all that kind of stuff. Whereas this time, And I don't know what the meaning of the actual card is because, you know, the booklet's there, but I'm not going to read it because that would be boring reading on camera. Yeah, for us it means all that glitters is gold, okay? And so part of it is they wanted to bring in that message of the compassionate action for those who need it at the moment. You can also send compassionate action to yourself and put those sort of bags of gold, so to speak, on your own timeline ahead of yourself, which, you know, if you're doing a daily meditation, that can be part of your daily meditation for yourself, where you see yourself happy and healthy and joyful and dancing around, you know, carefree or whatever in the future. That's you for yourself, for your very own self, putting those, so to speak, bags of gold on your timeline train track before you, okay? I'm just asking them what else they want to say about that card. They're saying we're not going to do a second channel today, which I think in the most of the previous videos we have, but because I'm feeling a bit weird about doing them in this space, they're not going to make me do a second one, which is kind of nice of them, really. It was fine, but yes, it did feel a bit strange. Yeah. Again, they're saying it's just a reminder of the gratitude as well. Okay, so being in gratitude is like being in love. It raises your vibration. And the more you can raise your vibration, the more you can bring in. Okay, and the more you can receive, and the more you can hold in a way, which is really interesting. And they're saying you really no longer have to be afraid of deception or being deceived, because your own intuition is so attuned that is almost impossible in this new energy. Okay. Trust your gut instinct, especially if it comes to people, especially if you're inviting new people into your life. That's really interesting. I was at a group thing yesterday, and I was a little bit early, and there was only 2 other people there first, and those 2 other people have known each other for a while. I'm sort of new to this group of people, and one of the ladies, she honestly just whinged for 20 minutes to the other lady and was aware of it. She was like, I've just talked at you for ages. And the other lady was like, oh no, that's okay. And I'm like, wow, this is like victim and enabler. Like I was disengaged from the conversation. They didn't need me to be part of it. And all I kept seeing and hearing in my head was a phrase by Caroline Myss, M-Y-S-S. I'm pretty sure it's her word. And it's woundology, and it's a new word, she made it up, but it's like it basically means those people that you meet that straight up they tell you their list of diagnoses or what their problem is or what their trauma is, or here's my wound, woundology, here is my wound, here is my wound, here is my wound. And it sets up that dynamic of feel sorry for me or give me that low energy that's not compassionate action. I was wondering why I was talking about that story. Like they don't want compassionate action because they don't really want to change these people. They feel safe stuck in that space of here's my wound, here's my wound, here's my wound. That's their identity. That's what they've cloaked themselves in. And that's up to them. That's fine. They can stay there if they want. You don't have to play that game though, right? You don't have to go down to that level of, oh, poor you. And, because, when I was listening to this conversation, I wasn't dispassionate. There was a couple of times I was like, oh, I could offer, an alternative perspective here or some advice here. But I really did feel that it wouldn't have been heard, or in some ways it wouldn't have been welcomed. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't have been rude about it, but she wasn't wanting solutions. She was just wanting to reactivate that chemistry in her body that subconsciously she's become addicted to. Okay, does that make sense? If it doesn't, have a look at the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton. They talk about this a lot. So where I'm just going to repeat myself, but so I was kind of aware of that. So, if I'd been in a clearer state of mind, instead of just kind of doing my own thing and shielding myself from the energy. But if I'd been in a clearer or broader, higher perspective state of mind, I could have been sending her compassionate action. I can do that now while I'm talking about it, but at the time I didn't think of it. So it's a good reminder for me as well. Okay. And they're showing me this pile of gold in that all that glitters and reminding us that is where the gold is, having compassion for other humans and having compassion for yourself, for where you're at the moment, for where you've been at. Okay, if you're feeling guilt or shame for things that you've done in the past, they're saying don't let go of that. You know, you did the best with what you could at the time. You did the best with what you had at the time as well. Yeah, that makes sense. So don't sort of shame or blame yourself for past actions either. Allow yourself that compassion of knowing that you did the best that you could, and that if you want to change, you can do that moving forward. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I might leave it there. Is there anything else they want to say? Saying no, but they're saying well done to me for being brave and setting all this up here like I have today. And created my own little bubble, which is nice. Thank you for coming along for the ride. I think that's it. November, huh? Take good care of yourselves. There's a really giant run up to Christmas this year. I don't know what's going on at the end of the year, but it feels like, and I actually heard some astrology the other day that 2024 is going to be a whole different energy, that this full moon eclipse that's just passed at the end of October is like a pivot point, a turning point, you know, and that I feel like the energy is going to just keep picking up its pace, and that 2024 onwards is going to be very different energy to the sort of more reflective, gathering resources energy of the last couple of years. So that's kind of exciting too, you know. And with all of this kind of pink glittery energy that we have here. Oh, and I did say I had a pink tablecloth, but I don't know if I mentioned that I've got a pink sparkly tablecloth. So I've got like pink cards and sparkly cards matched by the pink sparkly tablecloth, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I do feel like the 2024 onwards is like a whole new chapters, new pages, new energy, new sparkles, lots of new. It's good, it's exciting. Okay, so thank you for watching and following along. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I've got a new merch store, but I've only got one design uploaded to it so far. Have a look on the linked tree link. It's in there, and other stuff that I'm probably meant to say that I always forget at the end of the video. Thanks very much. Take care of yourself, take care of those you love, and I will speak to you next month. Much love. Bye.